we are going to go and check in on our everyone's favorite big boy, Ben Shapiro. What times do you usually stream? I usually stream at around 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Central Time. And then I stream for anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. Sometimes I stream for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. It depends. But I usually start around 8 o'clock every weeknight. Every weeknight. I do every weeknight, and then I take the weekends off to rest. 18 hours. Yeah, I streamed for 18 hours on Election Day. Let's take a look at some politics. Ooh. Ben Shapiro. Let's see.
Big announcement.
Please. Okay. I was about to be...
Big announcement.
God damn it.
We were going to be moving.
Stop, please. For a second, here, I'm gonna show you guys real quick. I thought that this was his recently uploaded videos, and I thought that he just recently reviewed The Last Jedi, and I would love to hear that review if it was current. Okay. Let's see. I'm not going to watch an entire episode of Ben Shapiro because, boy howdy, the full video of him talking with this turf really took the wind out of my sails the other day. It took like 3 hours to debunk it. We're going to go with something shorter. Okay. 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 We're gonna guys, I'm going in. We're gonna listen to him talk about Elliot Page. And he's gonna be incredibly transphobic. You can tell because in the title of the video he's transphobic. I feel like I need to talk more about this. I haven't talked about it a lot on stream. But yeah, we're gonna talk about this big dipshit talking about trans people. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great because I'm doing it. Okay. Have I seen Steven Crowder? I get incredibly bored watching Steven Crowder. So
Okay, now
no, I have not seen Steven Crowder's transphobic vid, though I'm sure it's incredibly transphobic. All right. Turning on subtitles. We are going to... Yep. All right. Zen, everybody. He has 9 minutes. 9 minutes of our lives, and he's about to press a lot of buttons that are going to make us very angry. Let's just very calmly talk about his bullshit as he goes through it. We can do this. We got our big boy and big girl pants on, okay?
I would be remiss today if I did not discuss one of the great issues of our time, and that is that the actress Ellen Page, who is, was, and shall remain a woman,
actor Elliot Page, who is a transgender man,
is now a man. So let me read you the headline from CNN, which conveys zero information. And we have now been forced as a society to simply say nonsense, to simply just say things that are nonsense, that don't make any sort of logical sense, that don't actually translate from English to reason.
Wow, look at Ben Shapiro dissing himself just out of the gate. Out of the gate, dissing himself, talking about how his words no longer have any meaning. We'll get to it later. I'll let him say his piece.
Okay, so here is the headline, and you tell me if you know what the hell this means. Okay, ready? Elliot Page, Juno star, shares transgender identity. Do you have any idea what that means? Like, seriously.
Maybe you're supposed to read the article, Ben. Maybe if you don't understand the headline immediately, you're supposed to read the article, Ben. Maybe you're not just supposed to read the fucking headline. Maybe you're supposed to actually read the content of what you read, Ben.
Seriously, do you have any idea what that means? When I first saw the headline Elliot Page, I thought, whoa, Ellen has a brother? No, it turns out that Ellen Page is now identifying as Elliot Page. And the media, instead of saying, here's a headline with content.
Yeah, Ben, newsflash. You know how you go by Ben Shapiro, but your name is probably Benjamin Shapiro? You can change what people call you, Ben. Chauncey Extreme, thank you very much for hitting that follow button.
Ellen Page announces she identifies as man, wishes to be called Elliot Page. Right? Now I would have the whole story. But Elliot Page, Juno star, conveys nothing because Ellen Page was the star of Juno.
Is he just... Wait, is this entire video just going to be him crying about a headline that he didn't immediately understand? Is he just going to be crying about this headline for the entire video because he didn't immediately intuitively understand something? This is supposed... Guys, this is supposed to be the cool kid's Philosopher, and he's complaining that he had to actually read an article. Just breaking that down for you real quick.
So I'm like, wait, was her brother in that movie? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about right now. Because the media have created this bizarre standard whereby if a person declares themselves a member of the opposite gender, the entire world, especially in the media, must immediately flip on a dime, stop calling them by the name everybody knew them as, and stop calling them by their biological sex. You end up with complete nonsense. Just complete bleh.
It's really not that hard to understand. Ben, sometimes people change their names. Okay, if we accept that sometimes people change their names, then it's not ridiculous to have somebody say, I wish to now be called a different name. If we accept that that's not ridiculous, then most of your argument goes out the window. She also announced that she's... God damn it. I'm falling into his talking points. He also announced that he's a man, a transgender man. A lot of conservatives don't seem to understand that when someone is transgender and comes out as transgender, they're not saying that they are cisgender. That's why there are two different words. That's why we describe how a woman can be both transgender and cisgender. This is not a hard distinction. We recognize that there are differences in different kinds of women all the time. There are black women, there are white women. There are old women, there are short women. There are things all the time that we make distinctions about. When we're talking about someone coming out as transgender, or a trans man, in the case of Elliot Page, this isn't a hard thing to understand. Like, the issue is that Ben Shapiro constructs this hyperbolic chamber wherein he pretends like it's this great big mystery that liberals are plastering all across the world. It's really not that hard to understand. Some people are transgender. They come out as transgender later in life. When they come out as transgender, they usually have different names. So they announce their new name and they announce that they're trans. This isn't a hard thing to understand.
Coming out of the mouths of the media. Now listen, Ellen Page can identify however she wants. I don't care. Really, it makes no difference.
But why are you calling him Ellen Page? Why aren't you calling him Elliot Page? You understand, like, the name is changed, right? So you're continuing to call him by a name that no longer is his name. Yeah, who is Ben Shapiro? I only recognize the given name Benjamin Shapiro. I'm so confused that we live in this world that no longer makes sense. See how that doesn't make it, like, that's his approach. It's just feigning confusion. It's just feigning confusion in order to make the position he's arguing against seem silly, when it's actually pretty solid and makes pretty much complete sense. Yeah.
To me, she is an adult human. She can do whatever she wants. It is a free country. However, it being a free country, I am also free to point out that Ellen Page is, was, and shall remain a woman. Because Ellen Page is, in fact, a woman.
No, actually. Elliot Page is a transgender man. What? Like, it's so weird to me that Ben Shapiro prides himself on, like, understanding the science and being able to articulate arguments, and yet he refuses at every turn when it comes to transgender issues to actually engage with the subject matter. Now, it's funny because let's run a thought experiment. And I bring this up every time Ben Shapiro is transphobic. Does Ben Shapiro sexually assault every single person he meets? Probably not. Does Ben Shapiro shove his hands up women's skirts? Does he shove his hand down the pants of men that he encounters? Does Ben Shapiro, grope the people he encounters on a daily basis? Because that's the kind of thinking that he has, right? Like, obviously, if someone is trans, I will be able to tell. Well, how can you tell if they don't tell you that they're trans? Do you grope everyone you meet? No? Well, then how do you know that you aren't working with a bunch of transgender people? How do you know, Ben Shapiro, when you're walking down the street, whether or not the new person you just met was trans or not? Unless you sexually assault everyone you meet. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Ben Shapiro just doesn't do that. He doesn't sexually assault people. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. That being the case, it means that Ben Shapiro is using his understanding of the social construct of gender in order to classify the people he meets based on a different set of characteristics and assumptions. This is a social construct. He's using... Well, yes, and SRS is also a thing. That is true. But, you have to go in the minds of these people, right? So, well, like, in his mind, he's like, SRS doesn't exist, it doesn't matter. You can instantly tell. Except you can't. You can't instantly tell. There are a lot of transgender people out there who look indistinguishable from cisgender people. They sound indistinguishable, too. And Ben Shapiro is kind of alleging that, like, he would be able to tell with 100% accuracy, and that's just not the case. And that being the case, it means he's applying a socially constructed standard of gender to people. That being the case, then he has to concede that you can actually identify as other genders. You can actually be a transgender man. You can be a transgender woman. You can be a non-binary person, because it's a social construct, and it's as flexible as we want it to be. Now, when he is talking about Elliot Page, he's only doing so because he knows that Elliot Page is transgender, because Elliot Page has openly talked about how he is transgender. That's it. That's the only reason Ben Shapiro is talking about it. It's because he knows that this other person is trans. That's his only argument. He argues that you should be able to disrespect and use bunk science to discredit transgender people with the assumption that you would be 100% accurate and everyone that you assume is transgender is actually transgender. And that's just not accurate, because the world isn't working by the standards that he's setting forth in this video.
Now, I'm happy to call Ellen Page Elliot if she wants to be called Elliot, because people change their names all the time, and you can.
That's cool. Then why aren't you doing it, Ben? I'm happy to call Elliot Elliot, but I haven't been calling Elliot Elliot this entire video, despite the fact that there are many articles written about how Elliot Page, wishes to be called Elliot Page. We're also going to dead name him in the title of the video. Yeah. And Lily loves stuff. I know that he's a transphobe. I get it. The reason I'm talking about this is so that I can put this out there and show that Ben Shapiro is kind of an idiot and doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about and is just kind of being a bigot.
In fact, change your name by declaration. You cannot, however, change your sex by declaration.
What about your gender, Ben? What about your gender, Ben? Are you saying gender doesn't exist? It's just sex? Because that's demonstrably not true.
Or your gender by declaration. That is not how this works.
Really? Ben, how many of your fans have walked up to you and fondled your downstairs region to see if you're packing? How many of your fans have you given blood samples to so they can check your XY chromosomes? How many of your fans have you given hormone blood work to? Is the answer none of them? Well, then how do we know that you're not really a woman, Ben Shapiro? How do we know? Is it because you have declared yourself to be a man? And we take that into consideration when we gender you in our society? Because that's how it works, Ben. That's how it works. The worldview that these people put forward would require you to, inspect the genitals, get blood work done, have DNA test results to every single fucking person you meet in order to verify that your sex is what it is, and so that people could properly use pronouns for you. This isn't how our society works at all, and if it did work that way, it would be a hellscape. So yeah, you can declare your gender, Ben Shapiro. That's how it works for literally everybody. Literally everybody. Whether you're cisgender or transgender.
There's no other area of life in which people simply declare themselves to be a thing and everybody goes, oh, okay. Right? An objectively verifiable thing. Right there.
Really? Ben? Are you objectively, verifiably a Benjamin? This is a fucking stupid argument.
You can declare your sexual orientation, or you can declare a thing that you like. You can declare that you're a fan of this particular band. You can declare that you have a sexual attraction to X, Y, or Z. Right? That's all subjective.
We already had the discussion about socialism with counterpoints. We had about a 2-hour-long conversation. It was really, really good, Doobie. I'm sorry you missed it.
And all we have to go on is your behavior, which is objective, and your subjective self-assessment. However, when you're declaring something as core as your sex, there is no objective measure whatsoever whereby Ellen Page is a man. None.
Except that gender is a social construct, Ben. So you can declare whatever gender you are. That's how gender identity works, Ben. That's why it's called gender identity, Ben. That's why there are so many different studies on this, Ben. Sup, Lavender Gunner?
Right, she is a woman. And yet we are immediately told by the media that to even address Ellen Page or Elliot Page as a she is discriminatory.
Yeah, it's incredibly rude and disrespectful. Yeah. Yeah.
It's very bad and very discriminatory. And so you end up with complete inanities and insanities. Okay, so
Wait, how? Ben, have you proven to us that you're a man? Have you gone on camera and hung hog? Have you provided us with your DNA or blood test results? No? Then how do we know that you're a man, Ben Shapiro? How do we know that you are not misrepresenting your sex? You understand how stupid and inane that is, right? Why are you holding yourself to a different standard than someone you know is trans? Show Ben. Yeah, everyone go on Twitter right now. Hashtag Ben Showhog. Show hog Ben. Show hog. Oh gosh. Yeah, we won't know until we get the full blood work, the full DNA tests, the full picture of his what I'm sure is an incredibly massive penis. We won't know. So, Ben, have you just been identifying as a man? We don't know. And again, this is just to show how hypocritical his position is. Because he is saying, well, I know how someone else identified, so obviously they can't change how they identified by my stars and garters. Prove to us that you're not just identifying as a man, Ben Shapiro, if that's going to be your position, okay? Actually live like how your stupid ideology would necessitate you'd have to live. Put up or shut up. Put up or shut up, Ben Shapiro.
Ellen Page declared that she is now
And again, remember at the beginning of this video, like 2 minutes ago, when he said that we should call him Elliot Page. Remember that? And then throughout the rest of this video, he just insists on dead naming him
a man. Okay? But she also declared that she is a queer man. Now, this is confusing, because if she were a queer man, this would mean that she is attracted to men, which would technically mean that she's a straight woman, right? Because if she is an actual woman attracted to men, this would make her a straight woman. But we know she's not that because she was a lesbian, right? So she is married to a woman, as far as I'm aware, and that means that she is a lesbian. But now she is a man.
Which means that she's straight. He's straight. God damn it. It's not rocket science. It's really not rocket science. He's a trans man who is into his wife, and and he's queer. That's fine. Sexuality is really complicated when you get into being transgender, but acting like it is this kind of rocket science-like equation is just nails on a chalkboard. It's incorrect, and it's wildly ignorant.
And according to her, this means that she is a white, straight male. So how's she queer? She's a white, straight male. So here is how Wikipedia tries to sum this up. You ready for this? According to Wikipedia, in January 2018, Page publicly announced his marriage to...
It is rocket science? I don't know. We have a rocket scientist in here, and I'm pretty sure he's able to figure it out pretty easily. Let's see. Zooey Mama 777. Thank you very much for hitting that follow button. I appreciate it.
To dancer and choreographer Emma Portner. So this means that Ellen Page is a gay man married to a woman, according to Wikipedia.
What's another word for gay, Ben? What's another word for gay, Ben? What's another word for gay, Ben? What's another word for it? Could you say that a gay man might also be called queer, Ben? Could you say that a queer man might be married to a woman? Could you not say that? It's really not that difficult. It's not difficult. Not difficult. If Elliot Page identifies as a queer man, it's not that difficult. Am I a socialist? Yes, I am. Hyper Triton. Hello. How's it going? Also, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it immensely. When you slow him down, he sounds dumb. Honestly, when you have him talking at normal speed, he sounds dumb too. The main reason I dislike doing his videos is that he talks so fast and makes so many claims so quickly that you just have to pause it every like 5 seconds. I posted the link in the announcement of the server. I hope you don't mind. Link to what?
Which makes no sense at all.
Oh, okay.
Like, in any way, shape, or form.
Wait, in the announcements of the server? Wait, which server? Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't mind. The greatest server on Discord. I like the way you think. I like the way you name your server, okay?
And you're expected to simply mirror this. Not only that, the left has particular standards with regard to who gets to play parts in movies. So, for example, Ellen Page, now Elliot Page.
Yes, the conservative right. The conservative right, very famous for not having any standards for movie parts. You know, when you audition in front of a conservative, they just say, you don't even need to do it, kid. Just get on the set. You're good. You're golden. You're fine. Yeah, conservatives famously don't care about anything when you audition. This is stupid.
Page. Right? I'm saying Ellen Page not because I wish to offend Elliot Page.
My name is India. I was in a cult for 7 years.
But because until 5 seconds ago, nobody had ever heard of Elliot Page. So nobody knows.
Yeah, I'm sure they're 4 minutes into your video, and they don't know who you're talking about in this video. I'm sure that's why you're dead naming Ellen Page. I'm sure that's why you keep saying that name, but it's Elliot Page now. It's Elliot Page. Elliot Page. It's not that hard to say, guys. You can just keep saying Elliot Page. It's fine.
Knows who the hell I'm talking about. So I'm going to use the name that people know her as. And then over time, if you want to call it Elliot Page.
All you had to do was do a disclaimer that Ellen Page has transitioned and is now known as Elliot Page. That's all you had to say. That's all you had to say. Elliot Page. It's all you had to say. And then you just keep dead naming this person. It's incredibly disrespectful.
That's fine. But for like today, I feel like it's fair.
Honestly, he should just own his bigotry. That would be a braver thing to do. Yeah, no one knows who this well-known actor is. Yes, indeed.
To mention that Ellen Page and Elliot Page are the same person, so that if somebody tunes in and hears Elliot Page, they don't think Ellen has a brother. Okay?
I guess he does this live? This is still one of the dumbest, like, cop-outs for transphobic dead naming that I've heard in a long time.
So, here's the headline from TV Insider. Elliot Page reportedly to continue in same role on Umbrella Academy. Now, Umbrella Academy on Netflix, it started off, the series itself is based on a comic. Ellen has a brother. Okay? So, here's the headline from TV Insider. Elliot Page reported...
This entire video, guys, is just him complaining about headlines that he didn't immediately understand. Holy fuck. Elliot is a nice name. This is true. But Ben Shapiro's just pulling a boomer. This is the cool kid's philosopher, everybody. and he can't be bothered to like read an article. He's just like old man yelling at cloud because he didn't immediately understand a headline.
Reportedly to continue in same role on Umbrella Academy. Now, Umbrella Academy on Netflix, it started off that the series itself is based on a comic book. In the comic book, Ellen Page, who again is a woman, and is in the series a cisgender woman, right? Like a woman who is a woman, is a straight woman in the first season. In the second season, Ellen Page becomes a lesbian because Ellen Page is a lesbian in real life, I guess. I mean, I assume that's what the plan was there, and that it has some.
Did Ben Shapiro read the graphic novelization of Umbrella Academy, or is he just assuming that the character wasn't a lesbian in the novel?
Something to do with how Ellen Page wanted to act, because my understanding is that's not something directly from the comic book series. If it is, forgive me, that's fine. Who cares?
Okay, so he hasn't read it. He's just assuming that they changed the role specifically because Ellen Page, at the time known as Ellen Page, was a lesbian. Fuck.
Okay, but here's the part that's hilarious. So according to Variety, they say there are no plans to change the character Ellen Page plays, her gender, on the Umbrella Academy. So the series is publicly showing their support, and they say they are proud of their superhero. We love you, Elliot, but Elliot will be playing a woman. Now, I've been firmly informed that this is discrimination and cultural appropriation. When Scarlett Johansson, a straight woman, was slated to play a transgender man in a movie.
Yeah, damn. All of the straight cisgender roles, they're all gone now. They're passing over the straight cisgender people. Dang. Pretty soon, you won't be able to be cisgender in Hollywood. The transes are coming to take your acting roles. This is like some absolute smooth as silk brain material. Also, I don't know, maybe it'd be cool to make the character in the show a trans man. That'd be pretty cool. I'd be fine with that. I don't think anyone has really been super attached to the graphic novel. But anyway.
This was considered very, very bad form. In fact, only trans people could play trans characters. So I have a question. If Elliot Page is in fact a man, the way that the media have declared that she is a man, then why is she allowed to play a cisgender woman? Is that not cultural appropriation?
Ben Shapiro, are you saying that cisgender folk and transgender folk have equal levels of power in society? That they have equal opportunities in society? Because, they don't.
If a normal, non-trans man decided to play a woman today, everybody would suggest that this was a violation of long-standing norms. It was cultural appropriation. But
no, they wouldn't.
If a woman declares herself a man, then you have to make a choice. Either she is a man, in which case she can't play a woman anymore, or she is not a man, in which case she's not a man. But because our culture is unbelievably stupid, it is both. Right? That is the way that this works. So
yes, it's well known that when you're applying for acting roles in Hollywood, they actually do DNA tests to make sure that you're not a secret trans. They want to make sure that you're not really trying to appropriate the cisgender roles, because that would be cultural appropriation. This is like the dumbest take I've ever heard from Ben Shapiro. This is almost as dumb as when he tried to outthink a children's book. Almost. We're like only a hair's breadth away. There are still 3 minutes left in this video, so there's still time for him to hit rock bottom. So let's not count him out yet.
So good news, Elliot Page can still play women and also can play transgender men, presumably can also play men, which is really exciting. One further note on all of this. If you feel like this is crazy and that this is being crammed down on you, that is because it is. That is because this is not a fringe.
This is being crammed down on you? What? Ben, what exactly is being crammed down on you? I thought we lived in America where you were free or where you were free to watch or not watch the Umbrella Academy as you saw fit. Wait, is there a secret fascist conspiracy to make everyone force them to watch the Umbrella Academy? Yeah, exactly. Oh no, I can't be an asshole to trans people. The tyranny, the absolute tyranny of this.
Phenomenon anymore, right? This is something the Democratic Party fully embraces and pushes. Yesterday, Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, he said that he is fully with Joe Biden on mandating from the federal government that transgender people be allowed to use the bathroom of their choice. Now, it seems...
Now, you know what? I would love Ben Shapiro to have an actual, like, either a sociologist or a biologist on to talk about the complexities of gender and sex. Because that would be an actual interesting conversation to see this absolute buffoon of a transphobe meet someone who, in the scientific field, who actually knows what the fuck they're talking about. But he would never do that. I know he would never do that, but I would pay good money to see that happen.
Seems to me that if my wife is uncomfortable with a male walking into a bathroom or a locker room where she is undressing at the gym, that is perfectly within her purview. That seems like not inappropriate at all to me. But the federal government has now decided under democratic auspices that men and women are exactly the same, that gender is completely fluid. None of this...
One problem with this, his arguments are just, no, that's not how it works. The thing is that Ben Shapiro would destroy him if he could debate back. Yes, I'm using he, him because the guy was born a he, him. Go by what you were born. And the stream sucks. And I'm out. Another thing that most of her arguments that aren't no is just insulting him. That's not an argument. Well, again, if the issue is to, like, talk about how his arguments are wrong, again, this is something I could do. It would just take a lot of time. And I can, of course, go into more detail on this, but I like to keep it simple. Ben Shapiro doesn't live his life acting as if, he genders people based on the sex that they were assigned at birth. He doesn't do that, because in order to do that, he would have to do blood tests, he would have to have their birth certificate, he would have to sexually assault strangers. The amount of things you would have to do in order to justify gendering people on the sex that they had that they were given at birth is so immense and laughable that anyone who's claiming to gender people that way is just lying to you or completely ignorant buffoon. So again, if you actually lived the way Ben Shapiro is saying gender works, you would have to commit so many crimes on a daily basis that you would immediately be put in jail. Immediately. So, if we want to talk about the actual, like, intricacies of, like, gender as a social construct, I'm open to doing that. Ben Shapiro, though, isn't interested in engaging with this topic in any kind of in-depth analyses, okay? I did an entire 3 fucking hour stream debunking an interview he did with a transphobic bigot. And again, he's just not operating on the level of being worth engaging with in these in-depth manners. We can talk about how there are intersex people and how they make up like 2% of the population. We can talk about how there are different hormonal conditions that can have you existing outside of a two-sex binary. We can talk about how, on a realistic level, we gender people based on our social constructions of what gender means. And we can talk about how that's a malleable structure. But these are things that Ben can't even begin to talk about because his position is that sex and gender are the same thing, and that is one that is not backed up by any kind of reputable science. Mainstream science recognizes that gender and sex are two different aspects of the human condition, and that they are, for very very painfully obvious reasons, not the same thing.
Makes any internal sense, by the way. If men and women are completely the same, there's no reason for you to declare yourself a man. Man equals woman means woman equals woman. Right? I mean, this is just the basic transitive property. In any case, here's...
No, that's stupid. Like, how do you... What do you want me to say to this? It's just a stupid thing to say. It's just a stupid and ignorant thing to say. Now, I could spend time breaking this down, but my time is worth more than that. Now, I don't know, maybe it would convince more people, but I feel like most people who are already on board with Ben Shapiro on this aren't going to dive into it. Man equals woman doesn't mean that people aren't transgender. Even if all other aspects of our society were equal, there would still be trans people. Trans people would still exist because it's a personal issue about feeling alienated from your body. There's an actual biological condition behind it. There's a lot of science behind gender dysphoria. There's a lot of provable, demonstrable scientific things that we could talk about here. But Ben Shapiro is just like, oh, well, men and women are equal, so it shouldn't matter if you want to be a man or a woman. So you're silly for wanting to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? What it literally has nothing to do with what you're talking about.
Chuck Schumer, fully greenlighting the Democratic agenda, which is fully in line with all of this silliness and anti-logic nonsense. And again, Ellen Page or Elliot Page is allowed to do whatever she wants to do today, but she does not get to dictate what the rest of us say about things as basic as biological sex and capital T truth.
Again, biological sex is what would make someone a trans man versus a cis man. It isn't a denial of biological reality. It's just saying that you are a man, and you can say that without having this weird conflation of gender and sex.
Okay, but here's the Democratic Party pushing this stuff.
Joe Biden said that on his first day of office, he will give transgender students access to sports, bathrooms, and locker rooms in accordance with their gender identity in all federally funded schools. Do you think he has the ability to do this, and do you agree with this decision?
I agree with the decision, and I know he'll check things out thoroughly legally.
Okay, I'm sure that this will all work out just fantastically well. I'm sure, and don't feel bullied. Don't feel as though you are being forced to change long-standing and, for all of human history, held opinions about the non-malleability of sex.
Ben Shapiro is just wrong. Ben Shapiro is just fundamentally wrong. Our ideas on biological sex have never changed. What the fuck are you smoking? Our ideas on Ben, fucking 300 years ago, people thought that, like, tiny gnomes put fetuses inside of women. What are you talking about? Like, Ben, in ancient Rome, they had different ideas of what gender meant. In Greece, they had different ideas of what gender meant. In Greece, it was masculine to have sex with other men. In like different places across the world at different points in time, gender has meant different things. And there are many, many cultures around the world that have had more than two genders because a lot of people recognize that gender and sex are two different things. You couldn't have other societies with more than two genders if gender and sex weren't inherently different things. Isn't he Jewish? Yes, he is Jewish. That's why he's wearing a yarmulke. It's black. You can't really see it, but it's up there. Are you telling me we aren't a bunch of homunculi nested like Petrushka dolls? Yes. Yes, I am telling you that. Wait, gnomes don't put fetuses inside people? I mean, sorry to break the news. Yeah, sucking big dick was a test of manhood. You guys, but does Ben Shapiro like look at like the origins of the Olympic Games where like two oiled up naked men wrestled each other into the dirt and say like, yes, this is what being masculine means. Two oiled up men just rolling around together and feeling each other's muscles. That's masculine. No homo. Yeah, no homo. Or does he like I think Ben Shapiro recognizes all this stuff. He just refuses to put it together because it benefits him more to be blatantly transphobic. Prove yourself by gagging on this big muscly man dick. True. And this is like one of the fundamental problems here is that like he talks about like these are things that have been held throughout all of human history, and gender and sex have never they've always meant the same thing, and no one's ever disagreed on this. And that's just, I studied history. I can tell you from my academic history that that is not true. It's just not true. It's never even been true on like when you take a look at like continents. The continent of Europe has had multiple societies with multiple different genders, with more than two. There were a lot of societies with 3 or 4. In the United States, in North America, you had societies of indigenous people who had 5, 6, 7 different genders. This idea that gender isn't something that you can change, that is a foreign idea to the vast history of human civilization. And anyone who tells you otherwise is selling you something.
It is all because you're discriminatory in your mind. Don't worry about the fact that this is all illogical and makes no sense. The media have told you that a thing is so, and therefore it is so. And therefore, and also, if you mention it,
it's not the media, Ben. It's scientists, academics, people who study history, people who study biology, people who study sociology. These people, psychologists also agree. All of these people come together, and the scientific consensus is that transgender people exist, transgender people are valid, and history has always had transgender people. Guys, some of the greatest works of art from Rome are like statues of transgender people. Yeah, and anthropology. True. Anthropology as well. The study of ancient human civilizations shows us that there's a great variety. And simplifying humanity down to these, like, prescriptivist notions of what gender is supposed to be and what sex is, well, that's ahistorical. It's ahistorical. It's not scientific. It doesn't align with the existing science. And by insisting that you cling to these ideas, Ben Shapiro, you show what you are. And what you are is just a bigot who doesn't understand the science, or someone who's a bigot and has a vested interest in not understanding the science. I feel like that's more accurate.
it's because you're obsessed with these issues. This is one of my favorites. Is that you say something as radical as men and women are exactly the same and a man can become a woman, and then I say no. And they're like, why are you even paying attention to this?
The train mod, I don't think I could show some of those pictures because a lot of them are nudes, and I think that might go against Twitch terms of service.
Why are you even making an issue out of this? I'm not. You guys are. I'm sorry, but you purveyors of new truths that have nothing to do with science, logic, reason.
Hey, can you, Ben Shapiro, can you cite your sources? Can you, because I don't think you have a history background, do you, Ben Shapiro? Can you, cite your sources about all of human history, gender being the same? Can you cite your sources about sex and gender being the same thing? I'd be very curious to see them. Wait, maybe I should give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe, like me, he posts all of his sources down below videos. Oh. Nope. Nope. No sources. How strange. How strange. His only sources are his feelings. True. It seems as if Ben Shapiro's just arguing from his feelings and not his facts. Strange. Very curious.
The answer is no. The answer is no. I do not go along with your mandatory take on the world. And I don't think Americans should either. That's not an excuse for being nasty to people.
What mandatory take? People are just going to say that you're a bigot because you're being bigoted. That's not a mandatory take.
It's not an excuse for discrimination. It is a recommendation that we all speak real truths when they are available. And it happens to be a real truth that Elliot Page is, was, and will remain a woman, even if Elliot Page believes that she is a man. And you're under no obligation, moral or otherwise, to suggest that men can become women or to teach that to your children, which is really what the left wants out of this whole deal. Of new truths that have nothing to do with... The answer is no. The answer is no. I do not go along with the mandatory take on the world. It should either. That's not an excuse for being nasty to people. It's not an excuse for discrimination. It is. It should either. That's not an excuse for being nasty to people. It's not an excuse for discrimination. Excuse for being nasty to people. It's not an excuse for discrimination. Excuse for being nasty to people. It's not an excuse for discrimination. It should either. That's not an excuse for being nasty to people. It's not an excuse for discrimination. It should either. That's not an excuse for being nasty to people. It's not an excuse for discrimination.
Damn. Then why do you go on to say some nasty and discriminatory things, my dude? Why have you insisted on dead naming someone for this entire video? Seems like a nasty thing to do. We generally agree that this is dead naming trans folk is a rude thing to do. We generally agree that using the wrong pronouns for a trans person is a rude and nasty thing to do. And yet you insist on doing it, Ben Shapiro. And Ben Shapiro does this, even knowing it is a nasty thing, because Ben Shapiro has straight up said, well, yeah, in like a polite conversation with a trans person, I'll use their preferred pronouns, but behind their back, I'll use the real pronouns. Ben Shapiro knows that misgendering trans folk is a rude and nasty and discriminatory thing. He just does it anyway. Despite saying it's not an excuse for being nasty, it's not an excuse for being discriminatory. Yet he continues to do these things. I think we understand here. Full-figured, no, we don't generally agree on anything. People are just forced to parrot your worldview or get censored, canceled, etc. Well, then maybe your convictions should be stronger, and you should be willing to get canceled and censored. I don't know. Seems like a pretty weak position if you ask me. Anyway, that was certainly a video.